Halloween just around the corner. Hopefully you'll have lots of trick-or-treaters at your neighborhood on Halloween night. We're going to get a little bit spooky this morning. Mark Height is here from Mark Height Keller Williams Realty. No haunted houses you're showing, no?
No haunted houses. Oh, I didn't even think about that. No, I was prepared to go boo at you this morning. But yes.
I'm an easy scare.
Yeah. and buying and selling a home can be pretty darn scary to folks.
Listen, I know people might think you're saying that tongue-in-cheek. It is legitimately scary.
It can be a very stressful event.
Yes.
And filled
that's drawn out.
That's protracted. It can have lots of scary moments, cliffhangers, and everything that goes with Halloween.
Okay, so we're going to unmask the fears. Mark thought that would be a fun thing. So are these just kind of the common fears?
These are the top 3 fears, first of home buyers.
Okay.
So the number 3 fear of a home buyer is that interest rates are confusing. Because, do I look at a low interest rate? Do I look at closing costs? What are points, Julie?
What are points, right?
Yeah, and do I do a 15-year?
And do you have to pay them?
Do I have to pay them? Does the buyer pay them? Does the seller pay them? These are all scary things for a home buyer, be it your first time or be it a seasoned home buyer.
Do you go with the lower interest rate at a 15-year mortgage, or do you go a little bit higher for a 30-year? What's the better choice?
The better choice is to get connected with a local loan originator who can sit down with you and have an intelligent conversation to demyth the fears and figure out what's best for you. Because you might be best in an FHA loan with a lower down payment to conserve cash, or you might be better to go with a higher down payment and maybe take some money out of a 401k to get a shorter lifetime and a lower interest rate to pay it off sooner.
Depends on where you are in life and what your other expenses are.
So you need an expert to get rid of the fears of those confusing interest rates.
Okay, so that's the third most concerning. What's the second one?
Number 2, what if the inspector misses something?
Oh, I've been there.
That is the scary part, because we are not contractors, we are not experts, our realtors are not. So it's very important that you get connected with a licensed home inspector who has taken classes and has lots of experience under their belt.
Okay, and tell me if this is correct, and perhaps it's what you're referencing now. As a realtor, you're not really allowed to say, I would use this person for your home inspection.
Absolutely not. I always give you at least 3 choices. But I'm going to give you from my experience, these are people that have boots on the ground, been on the roof, been in the crawl space, consistent jobs done.
True or false? As the buyer, you are allowed, should be there, either one, during the home inspection.
Absolutely. I suggest that you show up at the end. So that you can put your eyes exactly on that scary point that on a picture in a crawl space may look really pretty creepy.
Right.
But they say, this can be remedied with blank.
And they can explain it away.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the second one. Then what's the number 1?
Are we paying a fair price?
Oh, yeah.
Julie, you and I have sat here for the last few years talking about increasing home prices. It's great for home sellers, but buyers wonder, am I paying too much? Is this really a good deal? Is it a good long-term investment?
Right.
Am I paying a fair price? Because it's like when you make any large purchase that you don't do every day, you can't go to Target and look at, oh, this is 4 cents per ounce and this is 6 pence per ounce.
Right, right.
And so that's here again the most important function of a realtor is to help you understand that.
Yeah, because the challenge right now as a buyer, depending on where you fall, is that you don't really have the time to go looking at lots of houses in your price range because they're going so quickly.
That's exactly right. And you don't want to get caught in that fear of loss and pay too much.
Right.
And that's where somebody who's got your back, who's got years of experience and can show you this is what the home's really worth. Here's what the last 3 sold for in the neighborhood or on the street.
Right.
So you can really feel comfortable you're paying the right price.
Okay, so those are the buyer's fears. What are the seller's fears?
Wow, you're going to find there's a lot of similarities. Number 3 is how many showings will it take to get an offer?
I have a good friend who recently sold her house. I can't think of how many texts I got on a weekly basis. Had a showing, didn't happen. Had a showing, didn't sell. It's hard. It's hard.
It absolutely is, because there's 2 things that fear. One is the anticipation. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Did I get it perfect for this one? And number 2, you need to have a realistic expectation of how many days it's going to take to sell the home or how many showings it's going to take. And that's something where only an experienced realtor can dig in and say, okay, here we are. We see an average of 46 days on the market. We may sell it on the first day, but it may be day 45. And so we don't want to set an expectation of instantaneous if that's not the case.
You're also like the coach or the trainer who has to make sure the athlete doesn't give up on themselves, because it's tempting, right, on day 24 to say, I just can't clean my house again for a showing.
Absolutely is. And we also have to figure out, it's like, why isn't the house selling from those showings? If you had 10 showings, no offers, no serious interest, then we need to talk. And that's where you bring my experience in to sweep that fear off the front mat.
And it isn't always lowering the price. It could be something else.
It absolutely could be a staging conversation, accessibility.
Okay.
It can be a variety of things.
Okay, that's the number one, the third fear.
Number
the second
3.
fear.
What might the inspector find? Didn't we
same
just
thing.
hear that? Because as a home seller, you're really desiring kind of an as-is sale.
Yeah, you're on the hook to fix it.
That's
right.
exactly. So do you have a pre-home inspection? Do you do repairs, sell it as is? You know, what, and more importantly, who is my target consumer? So if it's a first-time buyer who has no ability, you know, to do repairs, then they're going to be less comfortable with damaged or rotten wood.
Right.
If it's somebody who's you're working into the price, they're an experienced home buyer, they may be like, we'll pay a little less. And so, Ann, as the homeowner, have you been in your attic? Have you been all over the crawl space?
And being willing to take an objective viewpoint, because as the homeowner, you might not be seeing what an outside eye would see.
Absolutely. Who does that and is in a crawl space 4 times a day?
Okay, number one fear of sellers.
Number one fear, hey, it's about price again. But Mr. Seller's wondering, what about selling it too low? Because if it sells too quick, does that mean I was underpriced?
Right.
I mean, I can't leave money on the table. Can't we start high and come down? Neither of those are great scenarios. You want an expert to come in, help you with pricing, get it right, put it right in the sweet spot to attract people right away.
Okay, and when, in your experience, when a home buyer sees in the publicizing of a home, quote, motivated seller, does that imply a negative? Does it imply that maybe there's a problem with the house and so they aren't selling it quickly? Or, are those good words to use?
It really depends on the life cycle of the home. If the home is vacant and with my seller's permission, because they've already built another home, they're relocating and they have 30 days, then they may authorize me to say they're motivated for this reason.
Okay.
If it is, we've been on the market now and we've reduced the price, therefore demonstrating the seller's motivation. So it can be some of both, but a trusted marketing specialist like myself wants to get the right spin on it for you.
Okay, so I want to end with one thing. You probably heard Mark on the show, I don't know, a time or two ago, and you were talking about the campaign to give away the $100,000.
Yes.
He's very much embedded in the community. Often when he's here, he has on a different pin, but the one he's wearing today is a frequent flyer.
It absolutely is. It is my Chambliss Center pin, and with me today, I have brought Phil Acorn, who is our executive director. These are Mr. Phil socks, and you can see he's got a variety of faces there. So if you will simply make a donation to the Chambliss Center for Children, you can find them on Facebook, or call me, I'll tell you how to get a hold of them. Make a contribution to the Chambliss Center, and you too can have some of these sporty Mr. Phil's Friend socks.
And if you're not familiar with the Chambliss Center, they've been around for something like
145 years.
Okay,
we have been caring for the children of our community.
So clearly they know what they're doing. Phil Acorn has not been there for the 145 years.
Almost 50.
But he has been there for a long time.
He has been.
Enough time to get his face on a pair of socks, and you too can have them. So find Mark and his team. As he mentioned, he is a marketing expert. So you're getting experts in their field in all the aspects of buying and selling a home. Go to markheight.com to learn more, or visit him at their offices on the south side over on Washington Street.
It doesn't have to be scary to buy or sell a home.
Thank you for not saying boo to me.